Tips on using a looper pedal and how to get the most out of your practice with one. So for this lesson you will need a guitar, preferably in tune. A looper pedal. I'm just using the TC Electronic Stereo Ditto looper. A metronome, preferably one with a Peppa Pig sticker. If you haven't got a metronome, then you can use metronome online or just Google metronome. There are plenty of metronomes online that are free. A guitar pick, 9 kilograms of Marmite. So here's a good little practice routine for you when using a looper. So we're going to start off with the metronome, and the reason we're going to use a metronome is to make sure that our loop is in tempo, because as well as practicing your scales and arpeggios and chords and things, you also want to be able to play in time. So I'm going to set the tempo, what have we got it on here? It's on 104, that'll do. So we've got the metronome clicking. I'm going to stick 2 notes into the metronome, which will be a root and a fifth. I'm going to do this in D. So I'm just going to record that, and then I'm going to come back. So I've recorded this pattern. So I'm playing just a 5th note here, and I'm muting the other strings. The reason I'm keeping that scratchy stuff going is so that there's a bit of a beat in the looper, which will help you with the timekeeping. And then I've overdubbed it with this note, which is just an A. So we've got a root and a fifth, a perfect fifth. So the reason that I'm going to choose those 2 notes is because in a D chord we have a root and a fifth, the D and the A. In a D minor chord we have a root and a fifth, with the D and the A. In a D7 chord we have the root and the fifth, the D and the A. Okay. In a D minor 7 chord we have the D and the A. So for most chords, other than a minor 7 flat 5 or diminished or something like that, we can use those 2 notes, and we've got a beat going and we've got the notes that we can use for harmony. So let's have a look now at what I would do with this loop. So as you can hear, I've got the loop going in the background. So using that simple loop, we're going to play chords on the top 3 strings. Okay, so first of all let's look at minor chords. So D minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, D minor. Now we're going to incorporate these chords into the loop, and I'll show you how that's done. We're going to play 1 chord for each 4 beats. And then we're going to practice. We're going to take that from once in every 4 to once in every 3, once in every 2, and eventually you'll build up your speed with those triads. Once we've done that, we're going to do the same thing with the B, G and D strings. Okay, so, and I'll show you how that will go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is an example of minor triads on the top 3 strings, played once every 4 beats. To change it, you would just increase the number of times you play it in every cycle. So when we've got a 4 beats, ba-da, bum, 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 ba-da, you play it on every 3, then every 2 and every 1. So I'll give you an example of playing it on every 2 beats. So when you've played through those top 3 strings, you would do the same on the middle 3 strings. Then you would do the same on the A, D and G string, and then you can do exactly the same thing on the E, A and D. So once you've done that, you would move on to major. Okay, play the same thing. So let's have a look at major once every 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as we did a minute ago, we play those major chords on the top 3 strings, then the B, G and D, and back down again, and then you can increase the speed by changing it to 1 chord for every 4 beats, 3 beats, 2 beats, 1 beat, etc. So those are the chords on major and minor. You can do the same thing with major 7 chords. So you could play etc. And again you could use the top 4 strings, the B, G, D and A, and then the G, D, A and E strings. So once you've played through your basic chords, and sorry, I forgot to say, you can also do the same with major, minor, dominant 7, etc. Then you can start looking at arpeggios. So let's have a look how that would work. And I'm going to play, first of all, minor arpeggios and then major arpeggios over the same loop. So now we're going to look at some arpeggios, major and then minor. Etc. So once you've played arpeggios, okay, and again you can play major, minor, major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, etc. Then you can move on to playing things like your pentatonics over the same rhythm. So here are your D minor pentatonics, played over the same loop. So once you've done your D minor pentatonics, you can move on to your D major pentatonics. Etc. So once you've played your chords, your arpeggios, your pentatonics, you can then use the same loop to practice your major scales, all in different positions. So here's a D major scale. once you've done your major scale, you can do your minor scale. Etc. in all the different positions on the neck. So once you've played your chords, your major, your minor 7, your minor 7, your dominant sevenths, your arpeggios, the same ones, so your major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, etc. Your major scales, your minor scales, so then you can look at modes. So let's have a look what modes would sound like over that. The only two you want to watch out for are your Lydian mode and your Locrian mode, because they've both got a flat fifth, which will clash with your perfect fifth, but you know, it doesn't mean you can't practice them. It's just going to sound a little bit discordant, but that's not a bad thing. Another thing you can practice over this loop is double stops. So double stops is 2 notes at a time. So that was just a pentatonic shape. What I'm playing . Okay, so I'm playing 2 notes at a time on adjacent strings. So on the E and the B, the B and the G, the G and the D, the D and the A, and the E and the A. Okay, and again you can do that with all of your different patterns. Okay, so let's have a little look at how that would sound. Then, to really test out how well you've sort of mastered this particular key, you can try combining the techniques. So your major, your minor, your chords, your double stops, your modes, and let's put some stuff together and see if we can play around on this simple 2 notes and create something which is not what we would normally play.